sir, let's start this way. You've been a student of this university and you studied here. How did you manage to find yourself out there? We are just curious to know.
Okay, thank you for that question. Yeah, I think everything boils down to when it started. I cannot say this without acknowledging what Dr. Fayomi did for us. And I'll do as much as possible to make this thing much alive with you guys, to know that the experience that you guys have right now and the interaction people are having with Dr. Fayomi now that you have him, you should just take advantage of it. So I remember we were going for ACS symposium at the University of Ilorin. So that was 2016, around February, yes, around February 16th, 2016. And so we chatted the board just like when people might be going for a symposium. So, and while we're going, Dr. Fayomi he was always hitting the nail on the head by saying that you people should get ready to start applying for graduate school. Graduate school. I say, you want me to apply for graduate school when even now I'm even struggling to drink Gary on campus. You get? So I was still struggling to drink Gary. I was still struggling to I was not even buying good clothes for myself. You get? So, but one thing I knew was that I understood the time of being a student. So yeah, I had it in mind, okay, there is a path that got won for me, which is there's going to be a scholarship that will follow, but I didn't know how. Is that okay? So when I knew that we were going to apply for scholarship, but I said, no, I need to make money small first. So I gave more time following that aspect of the money than applying for scholarship. But during my NYC, I then discovered that this money we are talking about, it doesn't come as we think, because what you think, the money you think you're going to earn out there, maybe you want to become a copper and they'll pay you alawi. Maybe the alawi now maybe is around 70,000, right? So you think that is a lot. But when you're out there, you discover that alawi is nothing to write on about. Okay. And even far much beyond alawi, when you're done with the NYC time, you see that even the job you're going to get, whether they're paying maybe 150,000 now because of Nigerian situation or 200, you see that responsibilities will expand and the money cannot even do anything. So it was during my NYSC, just to go straight to the question now to respond to it. It was during my NYSC in Ogun State, Babcock University. So I was there. I said, okay, how can I get funding offer? Though before then I was applying for Chevening, I was applying for Commonwealth, I was applying for Erasmus Mundus. Yeah, I wanted to just go for my master straight. So when I applied for all of that, some of them I even paid for application fee, but I was not selected. So I then said, okay, how about schooling in the United States? Because the big thing that people used to know about United States is that there's going to be GRE for you to write, or there's going to be TOEFL for you to write, some kind of English exams. So I said, okay, how am I going to get this? So I started searching online on Google, and then I came across Education USA Opportunity Fund Program. So I was doing this in June of 2018. But Education USA Opportunity Fund Program usually closed in May, ending of May. So they just selected people before I got to that information. So I wrote it down. So I started waiting for it. So that helped me to begin to okay, US is the way. US is the way. So that was how, just a long story short, the following year, I applied for the Education USA. I actually forgot about what I wrote down. So the application deadline was very close, just like a week to go. And then it came to my mind again. Then some person shared the link with me. Then I applied and I was invited. So it was during the invitation that I saw that, oh, there's even something more important than what I used to think. So just like everyone here, I'm coming with the good news for you guys. Hopefully you are doing chemistry now and you're applying, okay, you're going to go for a direct entry. Maybe for some of you, you want to do MBBS. Maybe you apply for MBBS, we're not giving MBBS. Or maybe you think the chemistry you are doing, you are going to end up being a lecturer. Or not really a lecturer that you may not put your mind. But lecturer, if you have a passion for lecturer, is the way to go. But maybe you think you want to be the industry type of person. You want to be in the lab doing research. You want to work, like finding out, you want to discover things in the lab. Yeah, so this is just to tell you guys that the news is that in the United States, chemistry graduates, biochemistry graduates, graduate from the STEM major, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, they have more favorites for being selected into graduate school more than MBBS. So MBBS, they don't select them because they are more expensive to fund. The government doesn't have much business with them because they want to make their own money. But the government value the input that we make in chemistry. So the government, the United States government, they have different departments, the Department of Energy, they have all of that. Okay, they have the Department Institute of Health, National Institute of Health. They even have different national labs. What do they do there? They use the knowledge of chemistry to achieve their purpose. Yeah, so that was how I applied. And then when I applied to schools in the United States, at that time, Dr. Fayomi wrote a bunch of recommendation letters for me. Prof Chahu, she also wrote 11 recommendation letters for me. And then Prof Unamonu, she wrote 8 recommendation letters for me. So I mean, each of them, they're writing to different schools. So if I mean 11 recommendations, I mean, they wrote a recommendation letter to 11 different schools, right? So that was how they did for me that same year. Another one that they applied, that they wrote to not necessarily schools in the US, but that was how everything happened. And then I got offer, we fully funded. Another thing I want to say is that in the United States, you don't have to have a master's before you do a PhD. So with your bachelor degree, you can just do it. You can just apply for a PhD. That is enough. So which is unlike what we have in Europe. So if you have any question about that, I can see explain more while we continue the conversation. So, but that is just to tell you guys that there's a whole lot of opportunity for you guys in the United States. And in Nigeria, if you want to do your graduate school program, you see that you have to fund your research. Let me say in your undergrad, now maybe you bought reagent for your practicals, for your project, right? But in the United States, you're not going to pay a dime. In fact, they even pay you stipends, right? So imagine the way the scheme works is the fact that the government has interest. They want to make something that is of importance to them. They want to like maybe make medicine for their health wise, or maybe they want to discover something for their tech. Yeah, the government has interest. And likewise, maybe private organizations or multinational pharmaceutical industry, they have interest about health or something like that, about research. So they have the money. And then the professors in universities, they have the knowledge, right? And then the students are interested in doing their PhD program. So all interest is being converged, right? So the government has money, they don't know how to do it. The professors, they have the knowledge, they don't have the money, and they don't have the hands to do everything. So students, they are willing to work. All they want is their degree and their experience. So the government and those private organizations will put money into academic fund for professors to assess. Professors will recruit students will work in the lab. Everybody is happy at the end of the day. So while you are doing your study, you are being paid out of the project you are doing. It is out of that project that is still your PhD thesis. Is that okay? So it's very, very interesting. I'm so sorry I spoke a lot, but I think I'll stop here.
Okay, you mentioned education US. Apart from education US, was there any other source of information? Maybe other places you source for information?
Yeah, thank you. So that is actually a smart question. So Education USA is an option, but it's not the only one. In fact, I have a lot of people that came to the United States. In fact, one of my friends is even coming to the United States in January. So they didn't get Education USA Opportunity Fund. So Education USA Opportunity Fund, maybe what they do is just like upfront cost, like they pay for some application fee for you. They pay for maybe flight when you've been given an offer, and then they pay for other things that will lead to your prior starting of the program, but they are no longer in charge once you get to the United States. So that means, and those things, they are what you can even raise support from friends and family that will cover them for you once you have fully funded offer. People like good thing. So if you have admission with fully funded offer, people want to associate with you. If you talk to them, they believe if they invest in you, they will cash out from it. And God above all will give you favor to those people. But you can apply, your job just to apply. Once you are just given admission, that is all, funding will come. Is that okay? And that really works well once you apply for a PhD program, because PhD program is fully funded for the STEM majors. What you need is just apply. If you are considered for admission, there's automatic funding support. So you don't have to use Education USA. What you just need to do is just to visit schools that offer the kind of program. So make your list of school options and you just apply, waiting for their offer to be released.
Morning or afternoon, evening, whatever the time zone is. So you talked about applying directly to PhD. So was the selection criteria, was it different for applying to masters? Because I know generally here in Nigeria, you have to do your masters first before your PhD. So how was the selection process, like the criteria in application?
Yeah, so the criteria is usually the same. The only thing is just that the length of staying in the program that you're going for. So all kinds of supporting documents you provide are still the same. For masters, maybe they give you 2 years to get done, but for PhD, you're doing 5 years. So, and that is the reason why you don't need to go with a master's. In fact, if you are living in Nigeria with a master's to go and do a PhD, you still do that 5 years. So the only thing that will really work out is the PhD journey is the fact that you have to just get done with your research. If you are done with all your research that is required for you to graduate and meet all the publication requirements, you can graduate in 4 years or 3 years, but it's always a difficult thing to be done in 3 years. So let me say 4 or 5 years, you should be done for a PhD. And then we encourage people to apply for PhD more because they believe you have more time to be in the program, so there's more chances of getting funding with a PhD than masters, right? And then like in my school and other schools, they don't take people in as masters candidates. Otherwise, maybe you are being sponsored by maybe an organization. But for them to fund you, they don't really fund masters for chemistry that much. But there are other schools that do. Some of the schools, maybe masters is the highest level of chemistry qualification or degree awarding. So maybe they don't have programs for PhD. So maybe master is the highest. So that one you can just apply. They'll just regard that master as if it's a PhD, right? But other schools that they have PhD, they will prefer to like put funding more on the PhD than on the masters. But you can apply for masters. It's just that there's more funding for PhD in the school where they have both masters and PhD.
Okay. So, sir, talking about requirements, is there any form of requirement in terms of CGPA to qualify for either masters or PhD programs?
Yeah, so CGPA is a good factor, right? So because of that, we encourage everybody to push in their academic work, but not only CGPA alone. because you can have a strong CGPA and you're not considered for admission. Because they look at admission as holistic. So what do they want to see? They want to see your research experience, right? They want to see how you write your statement of purpose, which Emeka is going to talk about. They want to see how maybe you handle leadership, just like you guys in ACS right now. So you guys are leaders. So those are the things you're going to have in your CV. So the component of application that they will look holistically will be your resume, which is your CV. And then you have your statement of purpose, which is a story about you. They want to see how your motivation for what you like to do has built up over time, right? So, and then they want to see your academic level. So all of that they will do their check and balance on it and see how they can give you. Yeah, but we encourage everyone to at least be on the 2-1. It's easier that way. And then if you're on first class, please, is a great one. Okay. But qualification is holistic. So your project work, the kind of project work that you've done, the kind of IT places you've been to, if you are not yet in your final year, I know you can still do your IT. So just be deliberate about where you want to go for your IT. Don't go to where you know that, okay, you are just going to be in the marketplace selling something because they pay you maybe 200K. No, that is not. If you just want to like eat your cake at that moment, fine. But if you know you have a future to follow, please don't do that. Okay.
Sorry. Let me just ask one question in between. What is there any place for NYSC? Do you need to do NYSC before going for this program? Do they also require NYSC?
Okay. Yes, thank you, doctor, for that question. So the thing is, the NYSC is just stopping in Nigeria. It doesn't go beyond Nigeria, right? So once you're out of Nigeria, nobody's looking at NYSC as a qualification for you to meet. So you don't need to do NYSC. In fact, if you even ask me, I'll tell you guys, just move on. But because we are patriotic people, I only say that now use the time that you are now, so that as you're ending your NYSC, you are going straight to your studies. So, but NYSC is not a requirement to apply at all.
That means somebody can graduate now and get, if he gets the offer, he's good to go, even without NYSC.
Yes. Oh no. So this is a very critical question. If you look at it right now, application windows for schools in the United States, it always opens between August, let me say basically August through December. That is a priority consideration time. And some might shoot it to maybe early January, right? And then after that period, then it's expected that all schools, is a law in the United States that it is expected that all schools in the United States should be able to communicate back to their students where they have to. And then they should be able to like finish up with every admission process by April 15th or so, something like that. So that means by April 15th, they are likely going to communicate all information to everyone. Some persons may get offer after that, maybe they got some persons rejected offer, and then that became a slot for them to be considered, right? So it's a whole year period. So once you are given admission, then let's say if you apply this year, you are going to resume in 4 next year. That is almost the same time next year. So it's a whole year process. So this is a very critical time for everyone who is in their final year to take advantage of the information we are all sharing today and the platform that Dr. Fawami has given to you guys. Look into schools, look at the kind of program that they offer, check their funding information. What kind of funding do they have? And then apply for those ones that have funding. So if you apply now, that means you should be expecting admission offer before the end of the year. Some will give you before the end of the year, some will give you immediately after the end of the year. And then you know which school you are going to, and you accept their offer, and you just have to travel to the US next year. That means you can miss your NYSC. Okay. I'll also talk about how the funding works. So, Sisu, please.
Even without serving your NYSC, will you still be given admission in USA to do your master's?
So the question is that without NYSC, will you still be given admission, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So like in the US, they don't look at NYSC at all. It's only what Nigerian government has influence over that they consider NYSC for. So if you're applying for PTDF, like a mega, NYSC will be considered because Nigerian government is part of the funding process. But if you are just applying to schools in the US where Nigerian government has nothing to do with the selection process, then you don't need NYSC.
Okay, I think I was trying to also expand that. In the situation where you apply for a scholarship and you doing scholarship actually, and then talking about it, would there be any form of requirement for your NYSC certificate? Because definitely some companies are requiring your NYSC certificate for employment.
So, sorry, can you come again? You said that when you've been given a scholarship and then you want to come back to Nigeria?
Yes, coming back to Nigeria, so companies now require the NYSC certificates to consider you for employment. So in such a situation.
Okay, so yeah, that is the reason why we say it's optional for people. We are not saying you should not do NYSC. But if you think your long-term plan is that you are not going to stay in the United States for a very long time, you don't value staying in the United States, you want to come back to Nigeria after your study, yeah, we'll advise that, okay, you just do your NYSC before you go. But I don't know how NYSC operates now, if they can allow people to come back later on and serve. Because before you can travel out and then come back and then do NYSC. That is the reason why you see adults doing NYSC. Okay, but I don't know. But I'll say advise that if you prioritize NYSC so much, yeah, so just just use your NYSC period as a season to apply. Is that okay? So once you are preparing for NYSC, just begin to apply. So that within that 1 year you are doing NYSC, you give it to them to review your application. And then as you're running up your NYSC, that is in the middle of NYSC, you get offer. Then as you're running up, you just go out. That is another possibility.
Thank you, sir. I think Moses still have another question.
Okay.
So concerning the requirement, and does it necessarily need to your health status? Does it require for admission for you to study abroad?
Yeah, so the thing is, health has never been seen as a big issue, and disabilities have never been seen as a big issue. So they accommodate those things. The only thing you just see is that in most application form, they will ask about certain conditions that an applicant might have, like disabilities or health condition. I want them to know. Is that okay? So those things are never like issues not to make you qualify. They don't speak down on you in any way at all. Is that okay? So they have, if you go to any school, just like even in the school that you guys are, they have student clinics. So in all universities, you have standard student clinic, you have medical centers around. And the cool thing is that assistantship offer, which is the kind of funding that they provide for graduate students, it comes with a health insurance coverage. So that means as you are a student, just as I'm here right now, if I need to go to hospital, I can just go without paying for it because it's part of the funding. So I can go and buy drug in the school clinic. I can, like, anything I want to do on campus is covered, right? And anything I want to, that will make them to refer me to outside of the campus, there's a percentage of the insurance coverage for it. So health is never a problem for it at all.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Okay. Join us with a question.
Okay, sir, you talked about research experience in
Yes.
the application process. So, like us now, the final year students, our place of IT did not really relate with our course of study. We're not really informed about that. But if our project work now enough to like apply, or we still need to gather other experiences.
Okay, so I think if you did your NYC in the water factory, there's a lot to learn because I remember not NYC if you did your SciWest. Yeah, sorry for that. So if you did your SciWest in the water factory, there's still a lot to learn. When I did my, in chemistry, you did SciWest twice, which is applicable to other College of Sciences major. So the first one I did it at the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development in Abuja. So in case you've heard about it before, if you know somebody who want to do IT, please recommend it to them because they have labs that you can learn something. Especially for those people who want to do maybe analytical, they want to do organic chemistry major or medicinal kind of chemistry major. So I did it in that one. Then the second phase, I was thinking like everybody, I wanted to make money. So I went for a water factory where they would pay me more. But interesting thing about it is that we did some cool chemistry because you have to learn everything about the water testing, the water purification process. You have to look at the different micron sizes and the particles involved and the ion exchange reaction involved in water purification. You understand every principle about water plant running, which is a whole lot of chemistry. Yeah, so you can talk about it. But the thing is that it's really good to say that you don't have to say everything about your experiences, but those experiences that are relevant to what you're applying for. Emeka will talk about it in the SOP. So it's not an out of place to do in the water factory, but do you think that is going to help you in the long term? I only recommend that you go to a place of IT that will help you in the long term. Yes. And then I think this is one of the things that ACS can do. People can conduct a kind of maybe discussion session or maybe an event that you bring the younger student, people in their second year, in their first year. People should discuss about how options for SciWest, right? Let them know. And then another part of it is that if you see our lecturers, they are so awesome. If you are assigned to them as a project student, they like to ask you, what do you want to do? Most times they used to ask you, what do you want to do? Why? So they will ask, okay, there's a project here, do you want to do it? So what you want to do in your project is the point to kill the whole project or research experience, because that is going to take a chunk of what you can speak in your SOP. So your project is a place to also give it a heart, so people can see, like, encourage people. It's good to have an interest somewhere, discuss the interest with your project advisor. Your project advisor, they can help you in how to achieve that kind of interest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We still have another question from Akai.
Okay.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
From what you said, does it mean that you don't need a master's degree to be able to apply for doctorate degree program?
Yes, so like me, I came to this program without any master's. I didn't do any master's degree in Nigeria. My friends did, but we came together and we're in the same year. Is that okay? But the only thing I would just say, if you think you want to deepen your knowledge, your theoretical knowledge of the chemistry, yeah, go do master's and just broaden your knowledge of the field. But if you think there's no time to waste, please apply. You learn everything in the job.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We have another question here from Francis. Is asking if you can actually turn admission to before after giving admission, if you can defer admissions.
As in, if you can defer admission. Yeah, so you can defer admission. If you're given admission, you can defer. I don't know, maybe Emeka will speak more or Dr. Fahmi will speak more on that. You can defer admission. All you just need to do, you have to first accept it, then later on you have to write to them to defer you to a particular year. They'll just keep you as the number one priority for that particular year of you don't have to like be given a different funding. That offer will just run for you when you want to resume. Yeah, so you can defer.
So you made mention of
It's absolutely fine. Anytime it's fine.
I have a question. When applying for a scholarship, especially those from developing countries like Nigeria, I was meant to understand that there are specific kind of scholarship like the need-based and the merit-based scholarship. I want you to like enlighten us on it. Is there specific scholarship for developing countries or underdeveloped? Can you throw more light on it, please?
Okay, so yeah, I know there are scholarships, especially like the Commonwealth, where they try to look at developing countries. But or maybe one organization will just say, okay, there's a special scholarship for people in this major, or special scholarship for disabilities. All those things they exist. But in my experience is that those things are very competitive, but it's a good place to give it a shot. Another type is like all this kind of MasterCard scholarship that we all know. So you can see all those ones, they are just open broadly, but they are being funded by certain individuals or a group of industry. So, but the good thing about the US, why I really like emphasize on the US for people is the fact that imagine in the University of Agriculture right now, the Department of Chemistry has the ability to sponsor all PhD students in the department, not even the school. You get. So that is how the US government is. So if you are searching for scholarship in the US, you may not see anything, or you may not see much. But what they have succeeded in doing is that a school is a business. That school is being funded by maybe the money from the undergraduate or maybe the government sponsored or professors writing grants. So all the money is in the school account. And not just school account, but the department owns their own money. So the department has a part of allocation or budget to sponsor their PhD students. Is that okay? Because if you don't fund it, people will not be encouraged to do PhD because education in the US is very expensive. So the department has, just like chemistry department can sponsor the PhD student in the program in their department without even the VC influencing anything. So in all the schools in the US, we have over 4,000 schools, right? Over 4,000 colleges, right? Which we call universities or higher institutions. So those schools, they offer degree programs. And if you go to a school, a department will just have money to sponsor their students. So you don't need the government to influence it. All you just need to do is to find that program, check for how the funding is, just apply, and that is all. And look at the admission criteria, just apply. So those kind of schools for the scholarship for developing countries or specific focus people, yeah, you can give it a shot. You turn in application, they will review it, but from experience, I discovered that it's difficult to be selected. You have to have a very robust profile to be considered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about the English tests, like the TOEFL and the IELTS. So all schools, do they really require?
Let me add one or two things to that. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, doctor.
Please. Recently, I was trying to look for, I'm doing something online. Then I went on Twitter. I found out that even people, there are some professors, they will just advertise on Twitter. If you go on Twitter and just PhD opportunity, you see people saying my lab is open, I need so, and my lab is open, I need so. There are opportunities. And what he's saying is that you just need to find the website. It's only in our crime that our website, on their website, all these people have talks about their research and they advertise on their website. So that's what he's trying to say. Then another thing is that when you talk about requirement, they didn't talk about it. The issue of transcripts, which one is acceptable? Is it the one prepared by the department or the one by the school? Because some of them, I know that some of them, when I was in exam office, they will start asking, when I left exam office, they will be asking me for the one from the department. I said, that one, I've left that aspect. That, some of them, when we were giving them the one in the department, they were not collecting it. At the end of it, they will now start seeing how they can apply to the school. And the school one, I know what it means to get it. It takes a lot. You have to draw out remitter and the rest. Which of the transcripts do they really need? So that they will know whether they will start gathering their transcripts now and be scanning it and keep it in their Google or Gmail or something. So that when they need it, they quickly use it. That's shed more light on this.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, doctor. So doctor talked about Twitter. So you can go on Twitter, your X app, and search for just PhD funding or PhD assistantship, all of that you see. And then in addition to the one you also mentioned, we all know LinkedIn. So we used to think LinkedIn is for people who are into job, who are into networking, but LinkedIn is the best professional development social media that I can talk about. In LinkedIn, you can follow people, you can get update of what is happening, and you can polish your own profile to catch up. Right. So please, if you know you have TikTok account, if you know you have, is it Telegram or WhatsApp account and you have a browsable smartphone, please, you need to create a LinkedIn account for yourself and be consistent with using it. Don't open it like 5 Facebook. I always open an account before, and then maybe we'll manage to use 1 or 2. Just open one, keep it very well, and keep building it for yourself. Look at how other persons develop their own profile and see what you can do with your own. So you can find, you will see professors, just like the way doctor said, they'll just come online, just advertise positions. If I go to my LinkedIn now, I will find one. You will see many of them. So if you see those professors, you can send them email. So those are the things that we learn. Even in education, USA is part of what they teach people, how to email a professor. How do you email a professor when you've not even heard about what the professor is advertising? Through LinkedIn is one. Another one is visiting the department, like checking schools. I'm going to show something for you guys to see before we end this section. But let me go straight to what Dr. Fayemi asked about the transcript. At the point that I was applying, I had my departmental results slip up to my 400 level. Is that okay? So I was always getting it at the end of it. Whenever they're announcing the release of those results slip, we always go there and get it. So I advise everybody to get it. If you're in your final year right now, do your best to have all of them, all the 8 semester results slips. Because the thing is, that is going to be your unofficial transcript. You don't need to apply to school to give you transcript. So just use those ones, scan them and convert them to PDF. They are your transcript that you have with you. That is okay to review your application. Is that okay? So just collect all of them. So I had all of them. And then you might see that maybe when you graduate from the school, maybe your second semester result was not out that time. Is that okay? So that means when you are coming for your clearance, maybe the result will be out. So try and get the last result slip, which is your second semester 400 level. Get it, put everything together, scan them, make it a PDF. That will be your unofficial transcript and is enough to apply to school. But if you need official one, you can always request to school, and then you can always apply to school, and school will send that one without you receiving it hard copy from them. Yeah, that is just in response to that one. If Dr. Fayemi has another thing to add, yes, you can add more.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the answers you've given to our questions. Just one more question.
Joy was asking one question, right? I don't know if we still have it.
Okay, so I was talking about the English requirements. You said earlier that you talked about IELTS and so on. It was like do all schools require this English requirement or just specific application?
Yeah, so in Nigeria we are blessed. So the fact that we have strong superpowers that they speak English, and English is the #1 official language of communication. So that means we have, especially if you are coming to the United States or United Kingdom, so English is not your big issue. Before it was a bigger issue in a way that they have to test you, but now they are beginning to waive it. So people from Nigeria, people from all those Commonwealth countries where English is the official language, or they were taught, they were taught for up to like maybe 4 years, or during the education time, they were taught in English. English will automatically wait for them. But some school may try to, they want to drag it and see what they can do. So if you feel like you want to take TOEFL to just make your chances high, to prove to them that not that you're just from Nigeria, but you can actually do this English, you can speak it, go ahead and register for it. And those tests, we have IELTS and TOEFL, right? That are the tests. It doesn't matter which one you want to take. Then there's the other ones that are coming up now, which are also well accepted. We call it Duolingo. So Duolingo is a kind of Chinese name. I don't know which name it is. Yeah, so that one is cheaper. You can register for it relatively cheap compared to IELTS. And then another thing that used to be a big issue, just like they will write jam to get to school, we have what we call GRE. That is graduate requires something examination. I don't know again. So that GRE, just like their jam to get to graduate school, they will have ACT or SAT for undergraduate program. The graduate school is GRE. People in businesses or commercials, they write GMAT. So I guess you guys are more conversant with GMAT. So those things are there. But after COVID, they started waiving a bunch of requirements. So GRE is no longer a requirement that much. So you have to read the admission criteria for every school to check if it is required. But me, I went for all the schools that waived them. So I didn't use them during my time. And you will see 1,000 of schools that waive it for you.
Thank you, sir.
Alphabetical list of colleges in Massachusetts. Okay, good. So we have it. Thank you so much, doctor. So now you can see that this is already showing you all of this, right? So if you look at the list of these schools, if you just permit me to just check this, you can see all these schools. If I see the first one, this one is showing Boston, right? So if you open these schools, you should see, the way it used to show is that you should see a kind of acceptance rate. So maybe because of time, I'm not going to waste everybody's time, but you should see an acceptance rate for every school that you search. That is the major information I wanted to take away. So maybe I should just type, or maybe you can, once if you're able to make a list of the school, okay, then you can just search for the acceptance rate for the school. So for acceptance rate, any school that has acceptance rate of over 60% is a good shot for you. So, but any school that has acceptance rate of less than that. So another key information, if I type, let me say if I type Harvard acceptance rate, Harvard University acceptance rate. So can you guys see what is showing on my screen?
Yes, sir.
So it's showing what? 3.2%. So every year, the chances of everyone applying to Harvard to get accepted is 3.2%. So for you to see how tight it is, so you might have a passion for a school, maybe you want to go to Ivy League school, but you see that the acceptance rate is high. So even meaning that we have smart people going there, so it's going to be more competitive. So I want you guys to also take advantage of acceptance rate in a school. So in my own school here, University of Tennessee, acceptance rate is like 68 or 69. University of Tennessee acceptance rate. So you can see the acceptance rate of my school is 68.4%. That means if you send application to Harvard and send an application to my school, your chances of getting to my school is more than in Harvard. So I don't want you guys, I'm showing this thing because I don't want you guys to waste your effort. Okay. You have to be smart while you're applying for it. But in the future time, if you have anything to do with Harvard, you can go there for your postdoc. If you're already in the US, it's easier to get to those schools. But if you're not there yet, just go to schools that are safe. So this one, we're just bringing everything down to the about finding a school, bringing it down to saying that, okay, we have safe schools, we have top schools, we have low schools. So let's say we have top schools that are Ivy League. Is that okay? If you check the ranking, maybe the US News ranking, you see those schools maybe in their top 20 or top 10 or top 15. Then you may have maybe other schools that are maybe middle, maybe they're in their top 50 to 100. Then you have safe schools, any school around 100 to 150 or even 70 to 150, they are, or even 60, say, or even it depends on the department or the program. Those ones are middle schools. Then low, like safe schools are where I want you guys to shoot more shot. Is that okay? Yeah, so I'll just leave that aspect of making a list of schools. And then once you're able to make all of those things, and then you send email to professors where needed, you can just make a template, you create an Excel sheet, put the list of the schools you have succeeded in making. And then from there you can begin to apply to them. But before you apply to them, I want you to know that while you're making your list of schools, the final decision is for you to go to the program page, check the admission requirement, and also check for the funding information. In the US, we not see something like scholarship, but what you see is like assistantship, right? So when you hear the word graduate assistantship, it means you are going there, you are going to be a supporting hand to lecturers. So you can be graduate teaching assistant. That is, you are going to be teaching classes, teaching labs. Like me here, I teach undergraduate labs, right? And I grade and I proctor exams. And then you might see graduate research assistantship. That is like your job is just going to be staying in the lab and work with your professors full time. So that is how you get your funding, and that is how your tuition is waived. Is that okay? Because the assistantship, the coverage is that you have tuition waiver, you have stipends, monthly stipends, you might have fellowship, and then you might have health insurance. So you have to read those financial information and see what they constitute. So if you are comfortable with all of them, just apply. Is that okay? So application window, just apply. And once you're applying, please carry your recommenders along so that they can turn in recommendation for you. Let them know about the priority deadline so that they can meet it up with you on time. But our lecturers, they are so awesome. Even when you've not even told them, they've already sent a bunch. So we are so proud of them. I think this is the end of my time and all this story. But the only thing I will tell you guys is maybe you are thinking that, okay, there are difficult things. You want to make money first. You don't, who is doing school again, that school is a scam. Please, school is not a scam. Don't tell anybody and downgrade them that way. At some point, people told me, but I was not having a substance.
On the requirements, the procedures, how to follow. But can you throw more light on the application procedure? How we can, after sourcing the information, then how then are we going to proceed with the information we've gotten? What next?
Okay, so this is what I'll say. What next? And this is going to be so much concise, but I know is enough to take everyone to flight. The first thing I want to talk about is gathering supporting documents, right? So those supporting documents, you need to have your transcript, which is your result slip. Now the Department of Chemistry is so awesome with that. They've been doing it effectively. And then aside from your transcript, you need to talk to your lecturers. Oh, Dr. Fawami is here. I know he's going to write a bunch, but talk to him in person. You need to talk to at least four lecturers, because you will see that you apply to plenty. You know, when you're hungry for a thing, you don't just do it for small, you do it for big. So you have to be ready for that. And just so that I want you guys to know that during my time, I applied to 11 schools, but I got one offer. So what you just need is a single yes. A single yes is what you need. If you have more than one yes, then you can decide which one you want to consider. But what you need is just a single yes. So document, okay. As part of that document, aside from the transcript, you need to be able to like craft an academic CV, not the kind of CV where maybe if there will be a time in the future we can discuss how your CV will be structured. Is that okay? Academic CV. There is nothing like birthday inside. There's nothing like your primary school and secondary school inside. Just begin with your undergraduate. It's fine. And then just Google academic CV. That is enough. And then another thing is the SOP Emeka is going to talk about it, so I will not add any single comment to it. The SOP is another document, right? So those are the three major things. Those are the supporting documents, 3 or 4 now. So transcript, unofficial, your CV, number 2, recommendation letter, which you are not going to be the one to write. It's not your father or your sibling, your elder sister, no. It's your lecturers. And then that is the third one. I think that is just your transcript, CV, then your recommendation letter, and the fourth one is the statement of purpose. So those are the things that you need as a supporting document.
Yes, can I come in here, please?
Yes.
The recommendation letter, the email, you didn't talk about the email.
Okay.
It should not be Gmail. It should be official email.
Yes. Yeah. So all your lecturers, they have official email.
So anyone that will write that for, ask first if the person has an official email. If not, they may not consider so, Abi.
Yes, they will not regard it that much. So the thing is that when you are applying, after you've spoken with your lecturers, they will provide you their email that you are going to include in your application. Yes. So once you put that email, the moment you just submit the email, they will just email them the request for recommendation straight to their email. So please, then once they give their consent request for their official email, they'll just give it to you. Then that is what you use. Is that okay? So and then you just need three recommendations, right, for each application. Right, so each application you apply will need 3. If you feel you can just put 4, then whoever will send the first 3 is okay for you, but you just need 3. So that is the aspect of the document. So after you're done with the document, the next thing you do is making your school option list. You have to begin to make a list of schools that you want to apply to. Is that okay? So this one you have to do it very, very speedily. It depends on the time you are making this list. If you are within the window of application, you have to do it so quickly. And then if you are not in the window, you can take your time. But this is one of the ways. I will just highlight 3 ways that you can make a list of schools. One, Dr. Fahmi already emphasized it. LinkedIn, Twitter. You just have to find if there's any opening announcement. Then maybe you can just search for maybe the name of school. You might see professors in those schools, and then you see the kind of research they do from their LinkedIn, and you go to their website. Another thing to do, in addition to social media, you can get information about a school from a friend or someone you know. So like knowing that, okay, Joshua is at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville is enough to say, oh, let me check that school. They have the kind of program I want to apply for. Then the fact that, maybe the brother of Sesu, I'm just giving an instance, Sesu is a president, maybe Sesu knows someone who is in the school somewhere, or Sesu's brother knows someone who is in the school somewhere. Those are the ways of quickly getting an information of a school. That will save you a lot. So that is just from friends or recommendation from friends. Then the last one I want to talk about is I'll just quickly go on Google and just share my screen, how you can go about this one. I'm going to be fast with it. So if you go on Google, another one is to go on Google, just like what I said. So what are you going to do on Google? We all know that we have 50 schools. We have 50 states in the United States. So you can search for schools just by state, right? So let's say I like Massachusetts as a state so much, so I want to school in Massachusetts, right? So you can do this for any state. So I can say list. The thing I'll tell you guys is maybe you are thinking that, okay, there are difficult things. You want to make money first. Who is doing school again? That school is a scam. Please, school is not a scam. Don't tell anybody and downgrade them that way. At some point, people told me, but I was not having a substance to convince, so I was quiet about it. But I tell you, school is not a scam. And I'm telling you guys that you can be a student. You can be a student in the United States and still make money more than a medical doctor in Nigeria. So you don't have to, and that is when you are a student, but talk more of when you have graduated. So you are coming to learn the skill set that every American is learning. So you are equated to them. And as long as you have the educational qualification, you can apply for any job that you are eligible, depending on your legal status. And you're going to make money like them. So you make money even more than a politician. There's a point that you even begin to work in the United States that you can make money more than the local government. Like the politicians you know in your neighborhood. You get? So that is not a big deal, but I just want you guys to know that there is a bigger future than this. Please take your school very seriously. Take your future very seriously. Whatever you do, please don't. There's a chance that maybe sometimes you lose guard, like you lose focus because of other distraction. But when you find yourself, please run with your future. Don't waste time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Just a quick one, sir. You said you were going to talk about how the funding works. So just very quickly before we go into Mr. Emeka, please, can you say more on this?
Okay, so for the funding, maybe I should just, if I put it on the screen, it might help better. Permit me to still share take your future very seriously. Whatever you do, please don't. There's a chance that maybe sometimes you lose guard, like you lose focus because of other distraction. But when you find yourself, please run with your future. Don't waste time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Just a quick one, sir. You said you were going to talk about how the funding works. So just very quickly before we go into Mr. Emeka, please, can you say more on this?
Okay, so for the funding, maybe I should just, if I put it on the screen, it might help better. Permit me to still share my screen in 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. So I will still use myself as an example. Let's say my school is UTK, that is abbreviation chemistry. So this is my department. Please, if you don't like the program, I say don't apply. So I'm not advertising them. So now, if you go to a department, let's say if I've already seen a school with a good ranking and you are tracing your program, let me say I've been able to find that University of Tennessee has a good ranking and I want to check what they have in chemistry. So I can click on that department, I can just start the department and all of that to bring me to the school. Please, in Nigeria, we call it maybe, is it what do they, postgraduate studies, but in the United States or maybe outside of the United States, we call it graduate programs. Masters, PhD or some certificate or diploma, they're also graduate stuff. So undergraduate students now, if I click on this, you are going to see that it's stating what? Our programs, right? It's stating all of this. So if it is our programs, if I click on it, so you guys are going to see that, so this school, this department, they can offer programs, both PhD and masters, right? They can offer. Then if you look at it, look at the admission information that they have put down here. So if you are thinking about applying, look at their minimum CGPA here according to US standard. If you can do your conversion yourself, it's okay, it should be fine. This is just a simple math, right? You can just do math. We are using 5.0. I don't know if people are using 4.0 now still. So you can see these are the documents. This is just what I spoke about, right? So what do you need? 3 letters of recommendation, resume or CV, personal statement or statement of purpose. Is that okay? And then you can see the deadlines, right? So for the 4, that is August intake. The application deadline is February 1. That is the priority deadline for the spring, all of this. But our international students are advised to apply more for 4. Then you can also consider spring. So you can see all of these are the requirements. I want to go to funding so that I will not waste time. These are the requirements. These are different concentrations, right? I just want to see the funding part. Let me click on that PhD, I guess. So if I click on PhD, okay, maybe it's not there for me here on the PhD. So what I'll just do is to go to the graduate student resources. So if I go to the graduate student resources, I should see, let me see this apply. If it's not there, then it should be in the graduate student handbook. Okay, so this one is graduate school. So I should go to the graduate student handbook. So okay, good. We can see this now. Graduate student resources. Look at what they are saying. Graduate students in the Department of Chemistry receive financial support. So you begin to see in the form of graduate assistantship, right? Student appointed. So you begin to see all this information about money. Okay. You can see apart from this, additional information regarding scholarship and graduate school fellowship can be found. So this is provide fellowship. So those are the ways. You can see health insurance. You can see tuition and fee waivers. All of these things are provided. So once you see all of this, you can even see that they say graduate students in the department receive financial support in the form of this. So that one is okay to take you away. And then you maybe see admission information by stating, okay, all of our PhD are automatically considered for funding. But I'll save you guys that time. So that is just how you can see. So this is how you see, this is the information for chemistry. If you go to mathematics, you see something like that. If you go for engineering, you see something like that. If you're not seeing money, they will tell you straight they don't have money. If they don't do it that way, they'll tell you the approach that they do, and that is what you have to follow.
Thank you very much, sir. That information has been really helpful. So since we don't have much time, if not, we would have loved to ask more questions. I'm sure we can keep talking on over and over about this topic.
Yes. Thank you.
Let's go straight to Mr. Emeka. Let's just hear from him on how we can go about it, writing CVs or statements rather. That's what, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joshua. That was so insightful. So we don't have much time, and the aspect of the program where I should handle is a effective statement of purpose (SOP) and maybe a recommendation letter. What recommendation letter, quite all right, is the lecturers that will write it for you. So all you need to do is the recommendation letter is having good synergy with your lecturer. You get trying letting them know actually who you are. So I'm going to actually focus the whole discussion on the SOP, what SOP should contain, how to organize your SOP, and then. So I believe this is not the first time of hearing about SOP or statement of purpose or personal statement. So SOP, quite all right, is an essay that is giving information to the admission committee about you. Your SOP should give relevant information to the admission committee about you, who you are. Okay? It should give the admission committee information about your academic background. It should give the academic admission committee information about your academic skills, your motivation, your interest, and the technical skills you have gathered over the year that will help you succeed in the program if you are given the admission or the scholarship. So it is the only part of the application requirement that you use to convince the admission committee that you are suitable for the job. So in writing your SOP, you should be focused, you should be honest, you should be logical. So we are going to the SOP the points you should highlight while writing your SOP is it will give information about who you are, the information about the motivation behind you applying for the program. What is the motivation? What is inspiring you to apply for scholarship? We all have a different inspiration. It is not what is inspiring Mr. A that is inspiring Mr. B to apply for a particular scholarship or a particular program. So in drafting your SOP or in writing your SOP, you should mention or state what is moving you, what is inspiring you, okay? And it should also contain the skills you have gathered over the year, okay? It should contain the skills, the academic skills, the technical skills. When Joshua was talking about answering questions about requirements, he made mentions of the skills you gathered in your SIWES, the skills you gathered in your projects, undergraduate program projects. So those skills you gathered should be highlighted in details while writing your SOP. You should also be able to tell the admission committee your career goal in writing your SOP, your short-term career goal and your long-term career goal. So the statements of purpose, actually, you generally must contain at least 5 paragraphs. And in each of those paragraphs, that is where you highlight each of these points. The first paragraph in your SOP, which is the introduction, the introductory part of your SOP should give brief information about you. While applying for scholarship or programs, you must have submitted your transcripts in the portals, you must have submitted your grade, you must have submitted your certificate. So they know your name, they know the CGPA you graduated with. So they know basic information about you, but there are information that are still lacking. So in the introductory part of your SOP, you should give brief information about yourself and give the motivation. You write about the motivation. What is actually pushing you to study chemistry? What actually pushed you to study biochemistry? What is the inspiration behind you picking chemistry as a course option? There are other course options you would have gone into, but you chose chemistry. What is the inspiration? You can write the inspiration as maybe experience you have in your childhood. Like for me, for instance, when I was writing my SOP, what I used as the inspiration or what inspired me to study chemistry was the fact that my grandmother used burnt ashes to prepare local soap. You get? So she was using burnt ashes to prepare local soap. You know, she will put the ashes in buckets with water, and then maybe after a few days, she will mix it with fat oil on the rest of it. And before you know it, local soap is made. So the curiosity to know what was actually happening in the process of what she was doing was what triggered my interest in studying chemistry. So in the introductory part of it, you can give brief experience or brief story of what triggered you to study a particular program. So in the introduction, which is the first paragraph, you give a brief a story about your background, you give brief information about your background. Then the second paragraph, which is maybe the general body of the SOP, should contain 3 most important information. The 3 most important information the body of your SOP should contain is, the first part is your academic and your technical skill. Now you are doing chemistry, you are studying chemistry, maybe you are studying, you pick interest in organic chemistry. Your skills, your SIWES, the research you should do should be consistent with the information you give in the introductory part of your SOP. So maybe for instance, I used the ash and the ash soap making as my inspiration. Now, while I was in undergraduate, to be consistent with my inspiration, I did organic synthesis in my undergraduate project. So you find out that you will be able to link your project, your SciWest, to your inspiration or what is inspiring you. So the second paragraph should contain the academic skills you have, then the technical skills you have. You should be able to convince the admission committee that you have both the academic and the technical skills that will push you or that will help you to strive in the program. Then the second part of the body of the SOP is you telling the admission committee in your SOP the short-term career goal. You have the skills, you have given them the background in your introduction, you have linked your skills, the academic skills and your technical skills with the introductory part of it. So now, if you are able to convince them with that case, they give you admission. In the third paragraph, what you should do is to be able to tell them, okay, if you give me this admission, if I'm giving admission, this is what I'm going to do. This is what the skills will help me to do in the department. Okay, these are the problems that my skills, the knowledge I'll acquire from the department will help me to do. So you state the problem, you will use the knowledge you will acquire from the department to solve. And it should be consistent with what is inspiring you, the skills you have. You can't tell them that you did inorganic chemistry, or you did your undergraduate project in inorganic chemistry, and you are applying for a program in organic synthesis. You find out that it's not consistent. Okay, so in writing the short-term career goal, always connect your interest to the career goal, and try to mention one or two lecturers you have either contacted or you have read about in that department that is doing a program that is in line with your research. Okay, so if you are writing your SOP, you are giving your skills, you are telling them the problem you are going to use your skills to solve in the department. Always connect your SOP with, okay, that you have read about this lecturer, professor this, professor that, and his research work is in line with what you are trying to, your program, that you would want to work with such lecturer, such a faculty advisor. The information is pushing to the admission committee is that, yes, you have done your research work very well. You have researched about the school, you have researched about their staff, and you are serious about what you are doing, with what you are doing. Okay. Then that is the second part of the body of your SOP. Then the third part of the body of your SOP should be your long-term career goal. So you find out that it started with an introduction, which is you giving the background of who you are, your interest, your motivation. Then you link it up to your skills, the academic skills you have gathered. Okay. Then you link your academic skills up to your short-term career goal in the department if you are giving admission. Then once you're able to link this up, then you can also link it up to your long-term career goal. Your long-term career goal is, okay, if I graduate from, let me use my school as instance, if I graduate from ENP Toulouse, what will I be? Which problem will I solve if I graduate after graduation? So that is the long-term career goal. Okay, so if I graduate, will I be able to use the knowledge to represent the school very well? Will I be able to represent the school at the end of it all? So your SOP should have 5 major points. The introduction, which is you give your the information about yourself, and you write about your motivation, what is inspiring you to study the particular program. Then you highlight on the second paragraph the skills you have, both academic skills, the technical skills you get while doing your SciWest, or maybe after your graduation, you can volunteer to work in a particular NGO. Okay, the skills you gather there, your leadership skills, they are all involved, or they are all contained in the technical and academic skills. Then you also link it up to your short-term career goal. Okay, so what you will do in the department, how you solve the problem you use your knowledge to solve a particular problem, and then you link it up to your long-term career goal. After graduation, this is it. The problem I'm going to solve, I'll use this knowledge to solve a particular problem, medicine, or doing building a particular machine, or the rest of it. So the SOP generally should give these 4 major information about you to the admission committee. And there are problems, or there are mistakes that most people writing SOPs make. One of the mistakes is that while writing SOP, or while trying to show their skills, they go off the lane, they give information about what they don't have. Okay, they will lie that, okay, because they are trying to gain admission, they will not be honest. So your SOP, a good SOP, while drafting your SOP or writing your SOP, you must be authentic and honest. The skills you don't have, don't say you have it. Okay, one thing about the people we are working with, if you get an offer outside the shores of Nigeria, or if you get offers here, they are always ready to teach you from your level. If you are honest and if you show seriousness that you want to learn, they are always ready to teach you from your level. So writing your SOP, don't exaggerate your skills, that you have this, when you don't have it. Always be authentic and be original. Then the second thing you should have in mind when trying to write all this is that you should be logical. Just as I've said at the beginning, you make your introduction, give brief information about yourself, your motivation. You should be able to link your motivation to your skills. Okay, I gave you an example about myself. I did organic synthesis while in my undergraduate project. Now, that organic synthesis, what pushed it was because I have inspiration, or I was moved by what I saw my grandmother doing. She was synthesizing soap. So the organic synthesis I did the synthesis I did in my project was in line with my inspiration. Okay, so you should be logical in structuring your SOP. And at the end of it, you should proofread. Don't make mistake or grammatical error. If there are lots of grammatical errors in your SOP, it is very wrong. Okay, because what it shows is that one, you are lazy to proofread your work. Two, it shows that you are not serious. So avoid grammatical error and don't be too generic. Okay, don't be too generic. Don't do copy and paste. Your SOP should be original. Okay, it should be original. It shouldn't be you going to ChatGPT to type sample of SOP, then they'll give it to you. You copy and paste. No, the plagiarism is a great offense. Okay, so don't be too generic, don't copy and paste, and don't be too overemphasizing. Don't overemphasize you graduated with first class, don't be too emphasizing. Okay, so these are the tips or what you should have in mind when drafting your SOP. So you have your introduction, you link it up to your academic skills and technical skills you have. Then you link your skills up to your career goal, short-term career goal, and then the long-term career goal. Okay, and then you conclude. In conclusion, your conclusion should be a kind of anticipating a positive response from them. You thank them for reading your SOP and then anticipate their positive response. Okay, so because of lots of time, I'm just highlighting the key points you should know while writing SOP. I know you are going to write a lot of them. Okay, you are going to write several SOP, and then we are always ready to make corrections if you write and then you send across, or you send to someone who is higher than you or who you think can proofread your SOP and make certain corrections about what you have written. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the talk on statement of purpose.
Okay.
If you have any question.
All right.
Okay, so you mentioned that the second paragraph, it has three sections: the academic, where you talk about why you selected a desired course, and also the short term. And you mentioned something about where you could also talk about why you're selecting a certain professor.
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So now the statement of purpose generally, is it like, okay, you listing your experience included in it, like adding your experiences to it, and also stating why you want a specific professor?
Yes, it must contain your experience, and you should also state why you want a particular professor. And then the professor you should write or you want should be a professor that is researching or carrying out research in line with what you are doing. Maybe you are applying for scholarship in material chemistry. Okay, you can't go and choose a professor in organic chemistry. So you must have read about the professor. You must have read about his research interest. If his research interest is in line with what you are applying for, you can mention, yes, that you will be happy to work with this professor because his research interest is in line with what you want to study. You have gone through his work, and then it is in line with what you are applying for. Okay, so it is always good to, yeah, Joshua made mention of that at the beginning of the program. You sending code mail to professor before applying. Okay, but maybe I think we will still have time to discuss that. You can send email to a professor seeking his permission or asking him if he has vacancy in his research lab so that he can accommodate you in his research lab. If you have such opportunity, or if you have such professor who have accepted you to work in his lab, if you mention him in his SOP, in your SOP, it will give you an edge, okay, because you have secured professor already. But sometimes, even if you have not secured a professor in that department to work with, you can also mention him, okay? That will show that, okay, you have researched about that particular professor. I don't know if I'm If you understand what I said.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for the words and everything. I just want to ask a brief one. When applying, please, how many times did you apply for, like, how many times did you send your SOP to the various departments of your choice? That's your department of interest. And did you send different SOP to different professors when you were applying for the scholarship?
Yeah, actually, my scholarship platform is different from Joshua's scholarship platform. You get, because I'm a PTDF student, so I will maybe answer this question in line with PTDF application, and maybe ask Joshua to give guideline or give an kind of answer to the way of applying to scholarship in US. So in PTDF, okay, you only write one SOP. And I think it's the same thing with other scholarship platform. So you only write one SOP, okay? You send it to the selection committee. So, but in applying for directly to school, you write your SOP in line with what you are applying to, okay? You can't apply to a particular school with different SOPs, okay? You write your SOP in line with what you are, because you are applying for, okay? So for PTDF, you only write one statement of purpose. You don't write two. All right. So Joshua, I think okay, I can see your hand up. You may do justice to that question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emeka. You've done everything, right? There's nothing much I can add. Emeka did a whole lot. I was not expecting that. The structure, so awesome. Okay. Yeah, so it's just similar to what he has said. You write one SOP for a particular program you're applying for. So any program you're applying for will require an SOP. And another thing I want to say is you don't have to carry one SOP and send to another, because the details for each program is different. So those details are not the same, but the only thing we can know that is consistent is your structure, your formatting of SOP is the same. Emeka talked about the first paragraph, second paragraph, and third. Your experience because your area of research is one. Let me say I'm talking about organic, or like Emeka, he talked about synthesis in organic, right? So he was able to structure it the first time. So the second time you're looking for synthesis, but in a different school, different professors. So that means you have to go there and find the details yourself. Then go there and begin to edit some things and make sure that they are logical. It's okay before you submit, so that you don't copy one detail. Let me say I see Professor Emmanuel in one school, and I'm now writing to another school with Professor Andrew, but I'm taking information for Emmanuel to Andrew. It's a big red flag because they read it. So that is another thing to say. Just make sure that you do your job very well. And then just in the US, just for you to know that you don't have to like submit SOP to professors, otherwise you are sending email to a professor. And if I send email to a professor, majorly what we require people to send is mostly their resume, which is your CV, and then maybe your school certificate or your degree, something if you have a sample of it. And then maybe if you have your SOP drafted already, just put it. But the main content is the write-up of the email, and then your CV will support it. Is that okay? So those are the things you have to send as emails. But during the application process, you apply those documents online. So your CV, there's a file uploading feature for it. There is SOP uploading feature for it. So you upload those things online. You must not be sending across schools. No, you just have to like upload the application. You just have to apply for JAMB. You upload your WAEC, all those kind of stuff. So you upload all of that. Then another thing I've really learned recently is the fact that don't make any attempt to do anything when you have not searched to find details about the thing. So don't just send email to the professor when you're not going to the website of that professor to read about the kind of research he's doing and how your interest is there, because the person will not even respond. So I've also learned when it comes to SOP, if you check the chat box, I'll send some links there for you guys. But another thing I've learned lately is Forbes is a very prestigious magazine, right? So we know people are into entertainment, so you can talk about who is in the top 100 richest man according to Forbes list, or maybe the top how many models according to Forbes. So Forbes is a very reputable magazine. I just went there to search, okay, statement of purpose, Forbes article. They didn't pop up statement of purpose. And you see people who are like maybe reviewers, people who are very smart, they are the ones that Forbes will allow them to write articles for them. Even if it is CV, you can. I'll just advise anything you are looking for a sample, just add Forbes search to your own. Just read what Forbes is saying about it. The structure is powerful. You will like it. I think that is my last comment.
A quick one. So is SOP strictly based on academic excellence or the work experience you have gathered over the years? Because I had a conversation with someone, he said maybe you can graduate with maybe 4.8 CGPA on the scale of 5.0, but if you don't have much academic skills and work experience, you will not be able to secure a scholarship. So I just want to know.
Yes, I think Joshua has actually made comments on that, but I'll still throw more light on that. Yeah, admission process is holistic. Okay, it is not. It's not just about your grade. Somebody may graduate with first class, but he doesn't have. He doesn't. He just ends there. And someone may graduate with 2-1, and then after graduation, he has other skills. Maybe he has worked in a research lab or he volunteered to work in a research lab. That laboratory experience, okay, that laboratory skill may give him or her an edge over someone that just graduated with first class and stays there. Okay, so in writing the SOP, you find out that the person that has 2-1 with experience may have a lot of information to tell the admission committee about him or herself more than the person that have first class without having experience. Okay, so job experience is important, but is your job in line with the program we are going to study? Like, yeah, a lot of things are happening in the part of the country we came from, where someone may graduate from chemistry and they start doing marketing. So your marketing experience after graduation does not add up to your chemistry knowledge. So you can't use that marketing experience to write your SOP while seeking admission for to study chemistry in. So your experience, your job experience should also be in line with what you are applying for. Okay. So if there are synergy between the experience you have and what you are applying for, you can bring them up. But if there's no synergy, I beg you to take away that experience. Okay.
Okay, sir, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Just before we go, if you have something to tell us, sir.
There is nothing, not much to say as per se. I want to appreciate our brothers. You know, as I can say, they are also doctoral students by God's grace, as Mr. Joshua and Mr. Mika, for giving us this opportunity to have this event. The issue is that, if you ask me, there is much more that future will hold. I've had the experience of visiting a particular place, not for my bench work. I know what it means to do some work in Nigeria. And I know the opportunity that some guys have. But some of us, because, there are some options, you have to weigh it family-wise. You have to balance it. You must know where you are going, what you want to do after school. I keep saying it in class that your project, what you are doing from 100 to 3 to 4 is what you will do for project. You are preparing for project. Then, while in school, know where you are going. Some people that wanted to be pastors, they started gathering people for fellowship. If you notice, people that gather people in fellowship, after during class hour, that's when some of them end up to be pastors. They know what they are doing. It's intentional. I'm not saying you can't be pastors while you are, but what I'm saying is that know where you are going and start preparing for it, so that after school, you will not be how do I put it? You will not just be wandering around. Sometimes it pains me. I met one guy like that. That guy, I met him somewhere. He was waiting for him to be retained in one school after service, one secondary school in one state I don't want to mention. Know what you are doing, get information and fly with it. Then network. I know that they are there to help you. They are also busy. They are there to help you navigate, But the thing is that you too must be ready to fly with some of this information. So please, I know that you Nigerian student that we were discussing before you got connected, that people spend a lot of energy in doing FYB week. It's good to do social. But in doing that, don't let some things get to your head. You spend the money to do all these things. One thing they didn't tell you is that as you're doing this thing, also be gathering some money to also have your passport. You get what I'm saying? They didn't mention it, international passport. Because some of them, they may even ask you for such things to be attached to identify yourself, to identify you. So get the information and fly with it. Everybody cannot be in academics. Some may be into business or something. But as this platform is American Chemical Society, understand and develop yourself. Everything is not always in the class. That's why it is a university. You must gather universal knowledge. There are some skills, even among yourself, you will learn. And this is one of the things to maneuver and get the best of it and become the best you can be. You can make it here, you can make it there. But when there are opportunities there, if you check very well, Chinese, if you check, you see American Chinese, they developed themselves, then they came back to develop the nation. Be like Israelites. They went to Egypt, to Goshen, and after how many years, they came back and they have their own something. So please think about yourself and start working towards this vision, and God help you actualize them. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate our guest speakers for giving us this opportunity, and I want to appreciate CPS too, and most especially our faculty advisor, that's Professor Lamin Amonu, for giving us these resources. These resources that we are using, we are not paying for it, but the way we can pay for it is when we become better in life. We don't need your money But what we need you to do is to look at yourself and make up your mind that you are going to succeed, and you do it, you go all out to succeed and become better, so that you also become a resource person like this and have some other things to contribute to people that are coming behind. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for. Okay, sir, Joshua, your hand is up.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Fayomi for giving us this privilege of having a one-on-one talk with everyone. Okay, I and Emeka, we are so much grateful. I also want to thank Emeka for the impromptu notification I gave to him. Was it on Sunday or Monday? But he just agreed to come out of his busy schedule. Okay, and then thanks to every one of you who are here. I can see you guys on ACS logo. This is so touching. Please don't play with it. And then Dr. Fayomi, I really want to appreciate you. I remember when we were in our second year, you shared one inorganic chemistry textbook. Is it e-house craft or something like that, one inorganic chemistry textbook? That is a textbook that they use in America for their inorganic undergraduate course. So please, if you have been reading before, and maybe, yeah, it was my experience, because I was just like maybe a local champion in my own sphere, I'm not saying with my friends. But the thing is, I was not having in mind that I want to go to the US to school. So, but you guys are seeing it now that you guys can actually come to the US. There's no place you won't be able to study. So you are seeing it now. So you just have to get yourself prepared. Dr. Fayomi talked about passport. So that is, in fact, before you even consider SOP, passport should be part of the package that you use for the application. So if you don't have money for passport now, if you are doing NYC, please save up and get your passport. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is if you've been reading because you used to pass, you just want to get an A and move on for a course and you're on first class. But maybe because you are grateful because you've not been smart at putting your head down to learn, please begin to revisit your textbooks again. If you want to do inorganic, please get one concrete inorganic textbook and begin to focus on. If you want to do organic, please, I have some organic textbook that I can share with Sesu to give it to you guys. Anyone want to do organic? You just want to like make yourself stand out all over. So in Nigeria, you're okay with what our lecturers have invested so much in you, but you are coming to the United States where people from India, China are coming in, and Americans themselves are coming in. So you are not just operating within your sphere. So you need to be able to brush up some of the things that you've forgotten before you show up. And you can do that now, because if you get into the program, you don't have the time. So I think that is all I would say. Thank you to everyone. Sesu, please, what is the count of everyone in this room right now? I want to take it to action. It's as if we wasted our time, and you have also wasted your time. So, and the final note is that God is above everything. It's one thing to say, yes, Lord. It's another thing to say, I am doing it, Lord. So you heard this thing, you can quickly forget, because this is one time out of a billion things you will be doing all your life. And you can easily forget them. So please stick with God. If you have not been so close to Jesus, please stick with Jesus. People beyond you have lived in this world, they were successful under God. Your case is not different.
Turning up for this event and for guiding us through. We really appreciate you for all your efforts. I think I remember just a few days ago that I began to reach out to you for this program, and if you've really been of help despite your tight schedule. Even when I requested for the second resource person, you just quickly brought in somebody, and today you've been here waiting all through. I don't just know how much to thank you, but just to say thank you, and thank you to Emeka for turning up despite the short notification of this event. He just came and he did wonderfully well, as if he was prepared a long time ago before now. So thank you, sir. I just appreciate it. And I hope that the message you are passing down here and the impact you are making in our lives will not be a waste, but somehow, someday, maybe we also will be there sharing the same impact which you passed down to. So on behalf of the students, we are just saying thank you. And thank you to Dr. Fayomi for inspiring this event. He is actually the backbone behind this workshop today. So, sir, we are so much grateful. Thank you. We cannot just thank you enough. Thank you, sir. And then just for